Okay, this is my existing layout. It's about 4 feet by 10 foot long. It's built with the method of construction known as L-girders. And some of the unique challenges I had were to make sure I had access in the basement here on all sides, if possible, even if it's just for temporary access, and also being able to access some things around my basement. For example, you can see in the back there, for the background, there's a whole house water filter. Need to be able to change that on a periodic basis. Down at the bottom of those pipes is the water meter. So if any maintenance needs to be done on that, I need to have access to it. So what I ended up doing was building the frame, the L-girder system, and then putting it on wheels. I have 4-inch polyethylene wheels, and these wheels on the existing layout as well as the new layout are lockable in 2 directions. They lock in rotation, and they also lock in rolling, so they don't move at all. One of the concerns I had in deciding what to do for the extra annex for this railroad was to decide on the kind of construction. And I went with the L-girder construction again. Based on books I read, it said that, you know, it's flexible, you can move the L-girders around, and if you have protrusions on the top of the layout and something is in the way, you can move them easily. Well, let me show you what I did for the new part. I also had to deal with these lally columns. So I put everything on wheels, and I tied the 2 sections together, so when one moves, they both move. And I'll show you how I did that. A little bit about the L-girder construction. I don't know if I would do this again. I think I would use a box frame next time. A box frame being just cross pieces, they sometimes call it the butt method. End pieces, just basically a grid type of frame. And the reason I say that is that this was a lot of work. If you look at the level here, you not only have to level it in that direction, you have to level it in the other direction along the length of the L-girders. And then you got to make sure every L-girder is in line with every other so that there's no spaces. In other words, when you put the plywood down, it's not missing any gaps. There's no gaps underneath the plywood at some of these L-girders. So that was a lot of work. Every L-girder has to be leveled in 2 directions. It's got to be you got to make sure it's lined up with the other L-girders in line with it. And you know, it took a long time to do that. Now, so my recommendation is, if you have a square situation like this where it's relatively square, like I do, and you don't have a lot of curves, you don't need L-girders. Also, if you're not planning to use switch machines like tortoise machines that take up a lot of space, then you don't need L-girders. I happen to use Kato track, and the solenoids are built into the turnouts. So underneath the layout, all there is 2 small wires coming through, and that's it. I also, as you see in the existing layout, I'm going to have 3 inches of foam, which is what I have here. And that foam allows you to scoop up stuff if you want to make a lake, and you don't have to go below the plywood. So the way the construction looks is a sandwich of plywood. It's about 3/8 of an inch on this one. Then 2 inches of foam. Up here I have a little elevation, so it's actually 4 inches of foam, but the basic layout is 3 inches of foam on top of 3/8 inch plywood. On the new section, I'm going to have the same thing. I may have 1/2 inch plywood just to make it level with the existing one. The dimensions didn't come out exactly, but I'm going to do that and use it. So again, my recommendation is, if you're not using curves, you don't have curves in the layout, and if you don't use a lot of tortoise machines underneath here where you got to move this thing, move the L brackets, the L girders, I wouldn't use it. It's just a lot of work to get everything leveled. So now let's take a look at how I tied the 2 together. Okay, so let's look at how I tied everything together. I had a couple of double 2x4s at the bottom which I tied to the frame of the existing layout and tied to the bottom of the frame of the new frame layout. And then at the top I have 1x4s. Again, everything here in the new section and the old section is 1x4s. And the distance is about 2 feet because I felt I could comfortably reach across there if I had to do any work on scenery or tracks or derailments or whatever. Out of the existing layout, when I built it, I built for some expansion, and out of the tunnel I have 2 tracks coming out of the left tunnel and 1 track coming out of the right tunnel. And they're going to come around, come out here, and then hit a curve, and then come down to the freight yard. And the freight yard is about 12 feet long and 3.5 feet wide. So I just want to show you some construction. It's pretty strong. The legs are 1x4s tied together like this, and they're screwed together, and then the cross pieces are here on the ends and also on the sides, very much like the existing one. So again, I used 4-inch lockable wheels. I got those at Home Depot for a good price. I think 4 was only 25 bucks for 4 wheels. And now when everything is moved, it all moves together. So it's all tied together very securely. I can get at the water meter. I can get at the water filter. I can do everything I need to do, and I can get around it and work on all sides of it. So I think it's going to work out pretty well. But I wanted to let people know that there's a lot of work involved in doing L-girders and shimming and leveling and all that kind of stuff if you want it to get just perfect. And again, I think if I had to do it again, I'd use a box frame. So if you like this video, please check like and subscribe to my channel. And thanks for watching.